always wanted to be the hero, but turned into the villain. Something like the Penguin, never like Bruce Wayne. I came from the gutter, not addicted to the fame, but the streets know my name, beat them at their own game. 20 years later, claim the head of the table. I'm my brother's keeper, but more Cain than Abel. Eliminate your bloodline, I'm the tribal boss. Murder so many tried, call it tribe Lord Ross. It's a scary story, son, and all these rappers sending them the moral. Never did it for the glory or the hot taste, did it for Grandma Ruby, who said I was special right out the gate. So continue to hate when you failed to see. You took your best shot and you bricked your three. The BSO legacy like the Bulls dynasty. My G, it looks like you need some milk. Let me call RG3. These are facts, not feelings. 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 It's the Headling King Robert Littal. Anthony Richardson got to get the hell up out of Indianapolis. I've seen this movie before, and I know how it ends. I got up this morning, got me a cup of coffee. My plans were to take down my Christmas lights, cut my Christmas tree, and be jolly. But then I saw Pat McAfee go hit him up on the Colts organization, and specifically Anthony Richardson. And I couldn't let it go by without giving my 2 cents. Oftentimes I say facts, not feelings. But this is an opinion. You can agree with it, you can disagree with it. It's not my job to change your opinion. It's my job to give my opinion. So here's what Pat had to say, and I quote, "That's literally the only thing you need to tell someone who knows ball, and they could tell you everything about this team. Hey, the franchise quarterback who's a professional athlete getting paid millions of dollars and the face of a multi-billion-dollar franchise tapped out of the game because he was tired in the middle of the season. Oh, wow! That team has no chance," would be the immediate response. And to the surprise of nobody, that was the response by everyone who ever played or coached the game before. But Colts blogs and fans who have been covering the Colts since 2020 and more recent knew better than everybody. Started personally attacking me and trying to kick me out of town. When I said Joe Flacco gives us a better chance to win than AR immediately after the tap out, I would have said whatever backup quarterback we had on the roster. That can't be what the face of your team is doing. It just can't be. And to the bigger aspect of it all, somehow AR thought it was okay to do that. That's a locker room issue. That's a culture issue. That's an indicator of a losing attitude radiating through a building that was built by greats. Lovely worded statement. Lovely worded. If you want to critique Anthony Richardson, the quarterback, that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. He has a long ways to go as a quarterback. He had a long ways to go if you watched him at Florida. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The part that I take exception with, the part that makes me think that Anthony Richardson needs to get the hell up out of there, is the part where he speaks on how Anthony Richardson cannot be the face of your franchise. It goes to the hot take media of the world. The only mistake that Anthony Richardson made was telling the truth. If Anthony Richardson said, I felt something in my back, I think I twisted my ankle, my arm went numb for a play, nobody would be talking about this. But he told the truth. He's running around. He couldn't catch his breath. The team didn't take a timeout. He didn't lay on the ground and fake an injury, which happens in college football almost weekly. And therefore, being a 22-year-old who doesn't know any better, he told the truth. And he's been crucified for it ever since. They benched him for Joe Flacco. And according to Mr. McAfee, any backup quarterback he would have wanted in besides Anthony Richardson. Of course, Flacco went 1-4. They needed Anthony Richardson to come back to even get in the playoff picture. But that wasn't mentioned in McAfee's tweet. I don't have an issue with Pat McAfee. I think what he's done, going from punter to multimedia brand, is impressive, something that should be taught in journalism schools all over the world. The issue is you can't fake being a journalist. You can't act like you're not media when you are. You can't go and have it both ways. You can't critique a professional quarterback as a professional media personality while you also have a professional quarterback as a guest on your show every week whose team is trash, whose organization is trash, who is involved in multiple dramatic activities throughout the year and has a worse record than Anthony Richardson. Now, the pushback that I got from people was that, well, Pat is a former Colt. He lives in Indianapolis. He's a season ticket holder. So, of course, he has more emotional attachment to the team. That's great. It's understandable. Pat McAfee is quite possibly the most powerful media member in the United States, sports media member, going into 2025. When you have that type of power, what you say cannot just be brushed aside as fandom. That's why when Stephen A. Smith says certain things, it doesn't just get covered on ESPN. Anytime Shannon Sharpe says something, it just doesn't get covered on ESPN. You are bigger than fandom. What you say carries weight. How you describe an individual dictates a narrative about that individual that they may not be able to shake. I remember JaVale McGee talking about the damage that Shaq did to his career by putting him on Shaq and the Fool all the time. The money that he lost, the ridicule that he received. When you are a powerful member of the sports media, what you say has repercussions. When you tell people that Anthony Richardson, at 22 years old, 2 years in the league, he's younger than Bo Nix, he's younger than Michael Penix, he's younger than Jaden Daniels, he's younger than Caleb Williams. When you say that he can't be a face of a franchise, that means something. And that's wrong. And some people were like, oh, Rob, you bring it up. It's a racial thing. You just said that because he's black. You just said it because he's a black quarterback. It's the race card. You always bring it up, race card, race card, race card. I never said anything about race. Because like I said, I've seen this movie before. Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, Zach Wilson. It's not unusual for a young QB to take the fall. It's not unusual for a team to not have patience with the young quarterback. But let me explain something to you, my Caucasian friend. This is something that you don't have to do. It's not your responsibility. When you make certain statements, you know what's in your heart. So there could be a Colts fan out there right now that says, I don't want Anthony Richardson on my team. I don't think he can be the face of a franchise. I don't think he's any good. And it has nothing to do with Anthony Richardson being black. It has to do with his completion percentage. But what I always try to point out to my Caucasian friends is that what you say and how you feel maybe creates a narrative and a stereotype that you wouldn't want to contribute to. If Pat McAfee is listening, it's probably not. Busy man. That really is what grinded my gears. You have to think before you say certain things. You have to think about what narratives, what stereotypes you're putting out there for the public. He may feel, honestly, that Anthony Richardson can't be the face of a franchise. But when he says that, someone that has millions and millions and millions of fans, there are going to be people that take that in a different light. That's going to take that in a different way. That's not just going to look at that like ball. Once again, it's not his responsibility. It's not something that I could force him or anyone else to do. It's something that I, as someone that has had 20 years in this business and have seen how athletes have been treated, never forget, the reason I'm here right now is because Joe Buck called Randy Moss basically a thug. And it felt like he wanted to call him something else for fake mooning some fans. That type of mentality just doesn't come from nowhere. Not saying that was what Pat McAfee was doing. Not saying that's what his intentions. Seems like his intentions just what he felt. But you still got to think. You aren't just Pat James that's talking to your buddy at the bar. You're Pat McAfee. You can't escape the fact of who you are and the influence that you have. You have put on this young man a stamp, a stereotype, a narrative because of your influence that he may not be able to get out of. Which is why, if I am Anthony Richardson, I'm his agent. I am walking into the owner's office and I'm asking, are you with me or you not? Because if you're not with me, if you don't think I can be the face of a franchise, if you don't think I can be the man that leads this team, then this is never going to work. And I have to go. That's what I meant when I said that Anthony Richardson needed to ask for a trade. Once you get hit with a stamp by these influential media members, be it Pat McAfee, be it Stephen A. Smith, be it Colin Cowherd, be it Joe Buck, be it whatever. There are a lot of people for a very long time that considered Randy Moss a thug simply because of what Joe Buck said. And that's why Joe Buck apologized many years later. You can't get around the fact that you are media. You can't get around the fact that you affect millions of people's opinions. Grand scheme of things, I'm a mid-major. I'm Gonzaga. Pat McAfee's Duke. And I hope that really, really thinks about it, when he really, really thinks about it, he understands the potential damage that he's done to this young man that has done absolutely nothing to him. Instead of lifting him up, instead of saying, you know something, he probably realizes he made a mistake and we're going to lift him up. We're going to give him support. He's going to be our guy for a while. We're going to do everything possible. Here's my number. Reach out to me. I'll be any help I can. Come on the show. I can give you advice about the city. I can give you advice about the fans. No, he's worried about the Colts blogs trying to run him out of town. Come on, Pat. Be better than that.